Okay, people, I'm back with another watch today. It is Tuesday, around 1:20 p.m. I want to go into what happened last night. There was, I told you there was videos that showed off a weird animal right outside my window, right around here. And this animal was very hard to spot on the footage. All I saw was his eye, and it was a very weird looking animal, like a snake human hybrid almost. I know it sounds very hard to believe, but basically it was there, and enhancing the film is what showed it off. So I was looking out yesterday morning looking for footprints and found some weird looking depressions in the ground that might be footprints but probably aren't. Didn't see anything else out of the ordinary. So what I decided to do last night around 1 in the morning, because that was the only time I could get away with this, is point the camera at the window and turn the LED light on and record the sounds I hear coming from outside. I didn't hear a thing out of the ordinary last night. All I heard was wind, chimes, crickets, and one twig snapping. The one twig snapping could be anything. I mean, it's not necessarily this animal. I don't even know if this is a flying or a walking animal. I'm guessing it's a flying or climbing animal because it was climbing up the plants outside to reach the window. But I recorded for 20 straight minutes, seeing if I could hear anything out of the ordinary. I didn't hear a thing. Nothing was out there. I'll do it again tonight because I want to see if this thing will try to come back a few nights from now. And that's just a bird that flew by. That's not a UFO. I'm wondering if it will show up, because it showed up. And another little update, I was watching the mini investigation video where it showed up, which is actually a Mega UFO Watch. Mega UFO Watch 3, it's one of the more recent videos on the channel. I was listening to the sounds I heard right around when I saw this thing, and it definitely made noises outside in the video where it was seen. There was the sounds of seemed like crinkling type noises, like it was pushing plants down and stepping on them. Definitely some weird noises coming from outside in the Mega UFO Watch. The lends credence to this as possibly a real animal and not a psychic being like I initially thought. So yeah, eventful night last night, although I didn't really notice a thing. I had to do it at 1 a.m. because usually at around 9:15 p.m. my mother is down here watching cooking shows. The only day she isn't is Monday. And I can't get away with this kind of stuff with my mom around. There's just no way. So I had to do it at 1 a.m. And I've heard some weird stuff around 1 a.m. in terms of weird animals, although it hasn't been very often that I've heard it. Only once per year. Twice in 1 year have I heard it, and there were 2 nights apart in August. But no, I didn't hear a single thing out of the ordinary, and I turned my computer volume way up so you could hear every sound, including the crickets, and there was no sign of anything out there last night. So whatever this was, it was there one night and then it was gone the next day completely, like it was never seen again. I haven't asked my parents if they saw anything out of the ordinary because I don't want to get them suspicious about this. I used to have a neighbor who was trying to find a camera for me last year who's moved out now. I could have asked him if he still lived around here, but Kevin is now gone. So it's just me now. He still does our grass because he lives nearby, but I don't know where he lives. I wouldn't ask him anyway. He wouldn't be living around here. But yeah, eventful night last night. I didn't catch a single thing. I did zoom in on a kind of a weird reflection out the window. I'm not sure what the reflection was. It looked like it was kind of morphing around and stuff, but its general position did not change. I couldn't tell what was making the reflection, but it wasn't anything weird. Maybe slightly anomalous, maybe, but it wasn't paranormal. And when I'm doing these watches at night, I'm not doing commentary, because if I do commentary while my mother's asleep, she'll wake up. So I'm basically... Also, I would not be able to capture the sounds on footage if I was talking. So I was just filming and just shutting up myself. But yeah, didn't capture a thing on the recording last night, which is disappointing. The light isn't all that useful, but it's useful enough to see if there's something relatively nearby. I didn't see anything weird move the plants besides wind. It was a fairly windy night out last night, so they were being moved by wind quite a bit. So yeah, I just want to tell you what went on last night. I'm going to do the same thing tonight around 1 in the morning. I'm picking 1 in the morning because that's around the same time I heard the mosquitoes screech last year in August. Mosquito was another weird creature that I saw, actually heard, last August. And they have some very, 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 very bad footage of it too, that I just enhanced and was able to figure out it was there. Weirdest creature, made a very weird screaming noise. It sounded like a mouse and a mosquito mixed together in August around 1 a.m. one night, or one morning. I was up reading the internet, not listening to music like I normally do, and all of a sudden I heard it, and I'm like, what the hell is that thing? And I started doing videos about me seeing this thing. And it never made that noise again, but 2 nights later it came back and started scratching on the walls. And that night I went out and I took a flashlight and started filming outside. And in the initial footage I couldn't see a thing because it was so dark, but when I brightened the footage in Windows Live Movie Maker, I saw what looked like flickering eyes in it, and that's kind of freaky. So whatever it is, it's glow-in-the-dark eyes type creature, and it's not a normal creature that I know of. That rules out possums. I don't think their eyes glow in the dark like that, and it looked like these eyes were giving their own light, you know? They were a source of light, they weren't reflecting light. But yeah, you're probably wondering what I'm calling the weird animal I saw in the last Mega UFO Watch. I'm calling it the green thing for now. I've seen some other weird animals that aren't really cryptids, but could be. Like one time back in 2010, I was late at night, around maybe 11 or 11 p.m. while no one was around but me. I was walking around the kitchen from the bathroom and I saw a humongous flying grasshopper-like bug, which I can't identify, flying through the air. It looked like a big grasshopper, big legs that at the top of the knee go up above the thorax and then go down, like a grasshopper's legs. Humongous legs, humongous body. We're talking 5 inches long. Could be a katydid maybe, but that's a damn big katydid. If you know what I'm talking about. The katydid is kind of like a grasshopper or a cricket, but bigger. Weird thing about it is, as it flew into the kitchen or living room, whatever, I can't remember which room it was completely gone. And I looked around the room and couldn't find it. I think it was the kitchen. It's like it never was there. It somehow got out of the house. But it was a damn big bug, and I only saw it for like a minute. So yeah, I've seen some strange animals in the past that aren't necessarily cryptids. But this UFO watch is interesting, and I'm mentioning the animals I've seen. The mosquito I heard more than saw, and I actually saw prints and scratch marks for that thing. There were a lot of prints and digging marks created by it because I went out one day, looked at my front lawn, no digging marks in one specific area of it. I go out the next day after it started digging, and I saw digging marks everywhere. I asked my father if he was digging, and he said no. So whatever was digging in our lawn was there that night, and that was proof of it being there because it wasn't there the day before. There was also depressions in the ground that looked like footprints. I actually saw the toes of these. These footprints resembled dog footprints, but they were big, about the size of a human hand. There were also scratch marks on the fence that may be related to it, but weren't, maybe not, I don't know. They were about maybe an inch across, 2 claw marks, an inch across, big claws, like the size of a human hand, but claws, so it can't be human. Something was scratching on the frickin' fence that night, and on our house. I went out and saw the scratch marks. I photographed them. I photographed the footprints. I didn't use plaster to get footprint to capture the footprints in plaster of Paris. So I didn't do that. I don't have that. Besides, I would never get away with that. But the footprints were photographed. They were definitely really there. Okay, people, I'm back with the UFO Watch after taking a big break for about 20 seconds, actually, so not much of a big break. What was I going to talk about? I was going to talk about something else. I looked at the image of the animal to see if it was a reflection of me holding the camera at the window, and it wasn't. It didn't look right for that. I also wanted to check if it was some kind of artifact. And I looked at 2 or 3 different frames of it, and I saw the same exact shape in them, so it's not an artifact created by a camera. As I panned the thing around, it had a similar shape, so it was definitely something out there that night. Although it's hard to tell if it's an artifact or not, honestly. I did my UFO watch yesterday after doing the outdoor investigation looking for footprints of the green thing. I didn't see much outside, so since it took up some time, I made the UFO watch 10 minutes rather than 15. I'm going to do 15 minutes today to make up for that. Well, 17 minutes actually. Maybe I'll try to do an extra 5 minutes or something. So I'll do 20 today to make up for the fact I only did 10 yesterday. Rather than 15. So the extra 5 that was supposed to be happening yesterday will happen today instead. That's so I always film the same amount of time every week. I want to keep this same amount of time every week for statistics purposes. I study the amount of false positives per week to see if I'm doing a better job seeing if what's a UFO is really a UFO. And there's one thing that I keep mistaking for a UFO in this window. I thought for a second that maybe it's a good idea to get rid of it, but I decided not to because I didn't want to break the screen window. But it seems to be a fly that's stuck or is landing in the screen window, and it's really annoying. I can't tell it's not a UFO in the film unless I shake the camera. So whenever I see something that looks like it, I gotta immediately assume it's not a UFO, which is something I'm not used to doing. But it's been there since I started filming out the window. And it's always in the same place. I've mistaken it for UFOs countless times. It is the biggest false positive crater in the entire window pane, I think. Probably the biggest source of false positives so far through this window is that. You gotta learn yourself to ignore some of them, I guess. I'm not even looking while I'm filming right now because I'm not gonna be able to see much anyway, so what's the point? I'm relatively satisfied with the UFOs I filmed in the Mega UFO Watch this Monday. Both of them were really interesting. I mean, one of them was a flashing light UFO that seemed to have a very erratic path, and it appeared as soon as it disappeared as soon as it appeared. And the other one was a huge flash of light in the trees on the opposite side of the street that I can't explain at all. It only happened once. It didn't have another flash of light to the left of it, like a plane would. And it was so bright and the wrong color to be a plane light, too. It was reddish colored or orangey colored, and that's kind of weird for a plane light, because plane lights are usually red and white. Maybe some blue or green, but yeah, just red and white usually for an airplane. So. And no one would have an airplane that have a light that far away that would be that bright so you could see it that far away. So, you know, I doubt it was an airplane what I saw. I caught it on film, more importantly. And this camera is damn good at catching UFOs on film. It's just so amazing at getting the hard work done of filtering out all the bright areas and enhancing them so that they're brighter. And I love that, because you can actually tell what you're looking at through it. Maybe there are better cameras that are better at light amplification, but this one's pretty damn good. My other camera, which belongs to my mom, is a digital camera. It's a Kodak. It is horrible at night shot type stuff, unlike this one. And now I'm not doing this at night, but still, That camera can't even pick up a faint light source, like a freaking car tail light at night. This can. Okay, people, the UFO watch is done. I will post the results in another video at the end of the week of all the UFO watches we have done, minus the ones on the Mega UFO watch, because that's a separate topic. So at the end of the week, I will post the results of the week. So, see you, people.